and welcome to Gamers Table, a podcast discussion of tabletop role-playing games, war games, movies, books, and various other game-related topics. Be warned, this show contains some explicit material that may not be suitable for all audiences.
Hello and welcome to Gamers Table. My name is Eric.
This is Mike.
This is Dan.
This is Greg.
This is Mark.
This is Jason.
And I'm Sean.
He's Sean.
Hi, Sean. This episode, we're going to talk about what gaming has done for you.
It's got me laid.
More importantly,
What? You are the only one, sir.
No,
you
not
are
true.
the only one.
Not true at all.
Unless we're counting a flirting with Mike.
What? 4A with Mike.
Flirting with Mike.
Oh, I thought you said 4A.
No.
This episode's starting at the bottom.
Let's work our way
Nowhere
up.
to go but up.
That's right.
Had a 3A with Mike. I don't know about a 4A.
A 4-way. What?
What?
Whoa.
Anyway, what is gaming done to you? What does it mean to
Done
you?
to me?
Done to me?
You know, done for you, to you.
Show me on the doll where the game touched you.
All right, we've completely sullied our only serious topic. All right.
We all agree that gaming is an escapist activity. It's a shared experience. But what does that really mean? In my mind, I think gaming, tabletop gaming anyway, is a uniquely shared experience because I can't think of any other activity where it's live, it's interactive, and collaborative at the same time. It's like you're...
That's not reality television.
Thank goodness for that.
Although I would watch that show.
You would watch a bunch of gamers sitting around playing?
Why not?
Okay.
Wow.
People listen to us talking about gaming. People have listened to us gaming, so why not?
It's,
So you-
it's another step.
What has it done for you? What has it given you? What has it taken from you?
All right. I've got a couple on this one.
Okay.
First, well, we'll go back to when I was in college. I had some kind of family tragedy, and I turned into a little bit of a social isolate with the exception of my gaming group. In fact, right now, the only people that I hang out with regularly are pretty much in this room. All my friends from high school, I mean, I talk to them on occasion, but not really. Maybe a couple of my friends from the Army on Facebook, a couple of my friends from college on Facebook, but the only people I actually hang out with are pretty much here.
i.e. your gaming group.
That's right. So, and when I was
Because
in
it's
college,
in no small part that we are really cool people.
absolutely, those people I
Besides
know.
that,
I would like to really drive that one home.
but besides that, gamers in general are a particular type of people. You know,
Now, it's funny that you say that because the stereotype is, introverted basement gamer. And yes, we are in a basement right now, but it is a...
That's only because that's where Sean let us set up the stuff.
Right, that's just convenience.
We're coming out of the basement.
we're coming out.
But gaming, this type of gaming, tabletop gaming, role-playing gaming, miniatures, whatever kind of gaming, these are hyper-social experiences.
Yes.
And then you take this same type of experience to a shop, it's even more social and more interactive with people.
Yeah,
It's more
come in the room and
interactive.
bother you while you're gaming.
Well, I mean, that's the risk you run, but to go to my point as to what has gaming done for me, everybody at this table I met through gaming.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was introduced to this group.
I wasn't.
Sean? No. Yeah. No.
Because you're Jason's cousin.
Technically,
I didn't
you
meet
were.
Dan through gaming.
Oh.
I just met you hanging out in Carrollton.
I met you at Craig's. That's the first time I met you.
That's right.
And we
And it
were
was a
gaming.
game night.
Oh, we were gaming,
Yes.
weren't we?
So the greatest thing I took away, or that I still have from gaming, are the people that I've met, either through this group or at the shop or at cons, or now we're starting to foster new types of relationships through the podcast and Facebook and the site. So to me, and it's counter to what mainstream society would have you believe about gaming, but the best part about gaming is the people.
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree
If
with
you
that.
could find the right group.
Right, yeah. And to speak to your point about, people bothering you, I met a lot of really cool people at the shop. Granted, it was dwarfed by the number of, can I talk to you about my homebrew campaign?
Right.
We're not saying homebrew anymore, Dan.
They do. They
You can say, we don't. We have microbrews.
Those campaigns were homebrew.
Okay.
Make no mistake.
Ditch
They
brew.
weren't quality driven enterprises. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, some of our listeners.
There was a lot of good comments.
Yeah, we had a lot of good comments online. One of our good friends who listens is Q-Man. He says it's escapism. It's a release from normality, which I agree with that statement. You know, you're working. You know, a lot of people don't like what they do, or they just do what they do to get by. In games, in games, you can sit down. You could be an entirely different person for that 4 hours that you game. You don't have to worry about, family and job and all that stuff while you're immersed in this fantasy world or this imaginary world. I think that's an important thing for people to do who are working more hours at work and things like that. They need something to be able
catharsis.
to... Right.
A stress relief.
Yeah.
Right.
I think for me, and I've given Mike credit for this before, I've
He doesn't know what he's being credited with.
Thank you.
I've thanked Mike for, because Mike has been principally our dungeon master for 25 years plus, and Mike has given me lots of distraction from things that are stressing me out. Usually something school related. I wasn't the best student in the world. Girlfriends breaking up with you, that kind of thing. That always had me stressed out. And I always knew that all I had to do was stop at Mike's house, stop at Eric's house, go to Brian's, wherever. Usually I did the circuit, drive by everybody's house, see who's at home, and then we stopped.
He was cruising for a game.
Cruising for a game. Wow.
Whoa.
Another shirt.
Wow.
Another shirt.
There you go. That's a great one. Cruising for a game.
That should be on like a driving slicker of some sort.
Yeah.
So,
as I get older, the gamers stay the same age.
So, we'd always, anytime, there was a lonely night, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a date, your odds are your friends probably are in the same boat.
No, not really.
And, shut up, Sean.
Yeah, about that. Screw you, Sean.
And, I always knew that on a Friday or Saturday night, when there's really not a whole lot going on, that we were probably going to be hanging out and we were probably going to be playing a game. We always had a great time. Now, if I had anything bad to say about it, I think the only bad thing I could say about it was those same things that it distracted me from, the things that were stressing me out, were things that I really needed to concentrate on.
Well, yeah.
I said I wasn't a good student.
Sometimes escapism, it becomes a crutch rather than something to relieve the stress.
And I know there were more than one subject that I should have concentrated more on, that game was distracting me. I know there were many times, I'm a daydreamer, and I would sit in class and I would doodle in the margins of the paper, and I'd be drawing swords and writing notes about what we were going to do, the next campaign and that kind of thing, and what kind of characters I was going to make and that kind of stuff. Writing little short stories or drawing pictures or whatever, that always distracted me. And I knew that distracted me.
But you weren't a dropout or anything.
Right.
No, I wasn't a dropout. I still graduated
I'm
from
going
high
to
school.
insert something here that we can cut if you want.
Sure.
Because it's always kind of been more of a joke, but you did at one time say that
Sure, no, you can put this in.
you had to step away for a while because you needed to play yourself for a while.
Yeah,
Right.
I was too caught up in the game.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that whenever you hear people talk about, LARPers or the guy who goes to school with the katana or things like that.
Yeah,
and
never
like,
did that.
It's all D&D related.
Never did that.
It's people who don't know. You get to that point where, and I've been to the point where I really do like a character, and the persona of the character, it almost takes over.
Sure.
And especially when you're playing it, I always like to say the player or the character plays itself. Okay, you get to the point where that character can do things you don't even really need to think about it anymore. Once you get to that point, you better step back.
Yeah, it's easy to fall down
Eric,
that rabbit hole.
if we ever get there with Butcher Boy, you just need to let me know.
Butcher Boy.
And I would say this too. I know for me anyway, I know that it did help me with confidence. If you can sit around a table with your friends and not be afraid to act out what your character is going to do. You're not
I.e. flirting with Mike.
Why does it always come back to that?
Because it's the most abnormal thing I think we do at the table.
If you're not afraid to sit down at a table with your buddies and act that out and do whatever, then you're probably not going to be afraid to walk out in real life and be who you are and not be afraid to stand up for what you believe in.
Right.
Because I think most characters that you make, they stand up for what they believe in. You should do the same.
Right. Greg, you mentioned gaming is a cathartic activity. One of the other comments we got online was from a guy named Devin who does his own podcast called Sharkbone. And he says through gaming, he was able to work through some issues bothering him in life without having to go out and actually do damage to people or to himself.
Sure.
Here.
Amen.
Wow, let's talk to this guy.
Yeah. I mean, things like you can play with social norms, or you can break rules in gaming where you can't do it in real life. You can
without harsh penalty.
You can explore racism, homicide, homosexuality, all these things you could play with in a game. And yes, some things you're going to be judged by the people that you game with, but if you're comfortable with them, you do it anyway.
Sure.
That's a good example of what gaming can do for you. You can do things in gaming that you can't do in real life.
Absolutely. Well, actually, case in point, I'm going to get a little personal here. My
Please
dad
don't.
went to prison for about 7 years and left when I was 17, my senior year in high school. And I
like
went
the worst possible time.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. I went to a pretty dark place. I ended up putting myself through college and really working 4 jobs, paying my tuition, paying my rent, buying my food, buying my books. The only night that I allowed myself social interaction or fun time was our Monday night game. Every other night of the week, I worked till 2 in the morning.
Right.
I mean, I slept all day Sunday, and then I worked from 5 in the morning to 2 in the morning every day. So that's kind of where I was at in college and everything else. And gaming is probably what kept me sane, or at least from doing something pretty dumb.
What about your time in Afghanistan?
Well, there's another one. We were in a spot in Afghanistan with no power, no running water. Daily chores were to burn the garbage and burn the 55-gallon drums of human feces. We had a small generator we used to recharge radio batteries. And I came back off of a supply mission once, and my laptop was fully charged, and I had packed some dice in my footlocker, and so I brought those down with me, and I asked some guys who I knew were gamers if they wanted to play, and my game went from 3 people to 9 and 2 other people watching.
Just watching the game?
Wow, that is awesome.
My platoon sergeant and one of the squad leaders watched. One of the reasons was my platoon sergeant, when he went to college, had a roommate who ran the game, and he was kind of the stereotypical stinky gamer, and he had a very bad opinion of him, and consequently a very bad opinion of role-playing games with them.
Sure.
And after he saw me run the game, he actually said that it was not what he had actually envisioned it to be. And the squad leader came and said, well, where'd all that come from? I said, well, I made it up. He said, no, not a book or anything. I said, no, it came out of my head while we were here today. And from that, basically my platoon sergeant started letting me charge my laptop, because he saw it as an MWR activity, because after that, everybody's just seemed a little more chilled out.
MWR.
Morale, welfare, and recreation.
I was going to say, that's got to be good for morale, because if you need to escape anywhere, it's there.
Right.
You know?
And,
So,
yeah,
you know,
it was a good
and
time.
something you said, you know, you can't bring all your game books with you when you're deployed, but there's gamers over there that you know, maybe they don't have somebody who has all their stuff on their laptop or whatnot. People send care packages all the time.
Sure.
Maybe somebody needs to start sending the gamers over there or something.
Maybe that's what we
And
need
there
to
are
some
a
of our
lot,
stuff.
actually.
Yeah, I
There
would
are a
imagine
lot
so.
over there.
Even those who are peripheral gamers or gamed in the past, it's something to do to take their mind off of what's going on around them.
Well, I'd just like to suggest maybe we could do that with some of our books that we really aren't using. I
The
know
ones that we just got sitting on our shelves and stuff.
We got a ton of stuff over at Dave's. I know that we can.
Well, they
probably
have limited amounts of space.
Yeah.
So
when I left, I had a footlocker, and that was kind of the only area I had and a personal backpack. That was kind of my only personal stuff, because everything else was a duffel bag and a rucksack that was full of Army crap. And even then, the footlocker, when we got there, got my gas mask and the rest of my chem suit and everything else, and stuff I was not going to use or did not care to carry with me because, well, it just makes you comfortable.
right.
As opposed to, just letting yourself die quick.
You know, I'm going to, so I don't lose the thought, there's one thing that you said there that I didn't really think of, but is very important and kind of unique to this type of game. You don't need power.
It's true.
It's the kind of thing that you could go off camping, or you could do when the power's out, or like in your situation where you just don't have access to power.
If you're a real nut job like me, and you can still run West End Star Wars and
Out of your head?
3rd edition Werewolf out of your head, yeah. You don't even need a pencil.
Yes, but you have problems.
And really, I just, power up the laptop, check some stuff, make some notes, and then run the game. And then there was a little while when they finally did fly us a generator, and we had power. I ran them through the Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil. We got about 3/4 of the way through before we finally got to get up.
You just made
out.
Jason jealous.
No, I've been through the temple a few times, and I was just going to say that was cruel, Greg.
I had 9 players, and trust me, they did all right.
Craig likes to do that. He's also the guy that ran us through in L5R. There was the
Tomb of Uchiban.
Yes, Tomb of Ichiban. It was.
I don't know what that is.
It's the TPK campaign.
Okay.
For L5R.
Greg, your situation is very unique. I appreciate you talking about that. Whenever you have people in stressful situations and you have downtime, people find things to do. And a lot of times, especially in a military setting, those things can be self-destructive. You get guys drinking or gambling, things like that. Just from my own personal experience, we did it. We game. I found a group of guys who would game with me, and that's what we did. And of course, the guys who were going out partying every night were making fun of us, because you're barracks rats and things like that. It's okay to go out and have fun to a point, but when you're doing it to the point of self-destruction,
and it's not like you never went out. I know you went out. And had
we
fun.
did. And the mentality of a lot